Lilo and Stitch is the latest in a long line of live-action Disney remakes. At first, I really wasn't going to review it because, well, there's a specific formula. They are basically using the original, except they're watering down the things that are not socially acceptable, or, quote, not socially acceptable, end quote, and any changes they make are superficial at best. You can bang on the sides of a box, but you can't shake it too much. And the visuals are either dull or just plain hideous. You'll find that this movie did a lot of changes, but it generally feels like, well, they're hitting on the sides of a box. Let's get my compliments out of the way first. Stitch is well animated, and I do love his relationship with Lilo. Honestly, making or breaking this on child actors was going to be a big issue, but Lilo's child actress does do this very well. This movie shines when it focuses on them and their antics. Then there are the actual problems with this film. For one, it's a live action product. Our threshold for cartoony antics in live action products is lower despite even the aliens. Obviously, we can't do the whole aliens thing, and I think this movie only has a budget of like half of what Snow White 2025 was. So, obviously, no aliens and wigs and trench coats and dresses, but you do get the Marvel esque image inducer to turn them into humans to save budget. This sucks because a lot of the personality suddenly goes out. Not to mention, a lot of her humor didn't exactly hit for me. I'll give Pleakley some credit because it felt like his actor was trying to do a great job. Meanwhile, Jumba was a miss. I know he's now the official main antagonist of this film, but at the same time, he still is trying to make specific jokes and they all miss. So his transition from comic relief character who tells jokes but misses, it's very jarring to see him completely miss. There are other issues with this film as well. I feel like there are some things that are just over explained and that sucks out the drama. One of them is, oh, his molecular density is too great. Basically, the Grand Councilwoman sees Stitch in the ocean and he's just basically going to drown because, density too great. Instead of, showing that he's going to get drowned in water because he's way too heavy, they actually have the Grand Councilwoman explain it and how, oh, molecular density being too great means he'll sink. Well, that kinda is redundant, and you're just knocking the wind out of your own sails. There's also how the cast of characters, excuse me, feels a lot greater than the original and gets more focus, which it can work, but how they do it is basically decomposite characters from the original into two or three separate characters, and all this does is really just make sure no one gets a satisfying conclusion. Look, it's just a bunch of small factors that add up to this film not being great. The ending is probably one of the biggest insults I've seen. Ohana means family. And apparently that means nothing because Nani just goes off to college and leaves Lilo with David and his grandma. The whole relationship between Nani and David is heavily toned down to the point that I'm questioning what the heck were they even thinking. I'm just looking at their entire ending and saying, huh? What's the point? Disney, you cannot do the whole Ohana means family bit and then a minute and a half later send Nani off to college and have Lilo live with David, especially since David's whole role was reduced in this film. It's just, no. David did not play the father figure for Lilo here. I think he felt more like comic relief and had more terrible dialogue. No, you don't do that, and you don't portray it as a good thing. None of that ending was earned. Like, subscribe, tip channel, whatever. Cyril, getting out of here.